And to me, whenever I see bailouts, I get bullish. I mean, it's like reinforces the long-term reasons why I'm in this asset. And so what's your guys' takeaways and just in terms of Bitcoin? How do you see it playing out? Maybe short, medium term to long term. Let's just finish with that. Dylan, what about you?
The idea I've had for really since it was clear in 22, early 22, was they're going to tighten until this thing hits the rails and teeters, until they blink, and it might even get materially worse until they have to blink twice, blink three times. So I still kind of believe that we're going to see somewhat of a probably a. I think we're getting a real sugar high right now. I think there's probably going to be at some point another moment of reckoning in the real economy. We're like, oh wow, we need this, but we're in a sustained inflationary regime. That the 40-year bond equity bull market in real terms is, at least in bond, the bull market in bonds in real terms is dead. In equities, I think we're in a period of stagnation for a decade in real terms. In nominal terms, I think it's still up only because inflation's, we're in a sustained regime, but that 40-year real return run that everyone got, where secular wealth is possible just by levering up to the hilt and refinancing as rates go lower. I think that world is done. I think Bitcoin is uniquely suited to rip faces in 2022. So the thesis hasn't really changed at all for me. And it's the last three days, 5 days has been probably the best narrative reinforcement we've seen in quite some time, since the COVID lows. So I'm pretty bullish.
Yeah. Joe?
It's remarkable how Bitcoin has no advertising department, yet we get these tremendous ads for owning Bitcoin every so often. This is an instance of showing just how much the Fed really isn't in the driver's seat, showing how much this is really just fugazi. None of it's really there. None of it's real. There is nobody with their hand on the steering wheel, though we all thought that there was. And it really goes to show, again, through the fact that this collateral that banks have been forced to hold, they're now holding tens, hundreds, sometimes hundreds of billions of dollars worth of mark-to-market losses on their balance sheet, and they're just holding those. If depositors, if there was suddenly tomorrow, mass financial literacy and everybody understood what that meant and understood that the banks are broke in real terms, they'd all go to the bank, they'd all rush to the bank, take their money out, and they'd be insolvent tomorrow. But of course, that won't happen. It happens on these smaller, more bite-sized scales with these regional banks. And it's a big lesson in counterparty risk. So we had, I think Dylan tweeted this out. He tweeted out twice. You said, that counterparty risk-free magic internet money makes a lot more sense. And then you tweeted out again, that absolutely scarce magic internet money makes a lot more sense. And within 4 days, we witnessed both of those, right? We witnessed the importance of your money is not really yours because 3 banks failed basically overnight. And then we witnessed that, hey, the Fed, remember who is in charge of the money, right? People who are willing to just turn on the money printers, even though they're not really money printers, right? Turn on the money printers at any time. And so it really makes sense to hold a lot of your portfolio if you believe that this is sort of the end game of the world financial system, where the Fed just becomes more and more involved until they are the only buyer of U.S. Treasuries, and they are, the people who have to step in every single time and ameliorate these banking crises. If that is your assumption, then Bitcoin is the only asset that it really makes sense to have an outsized portion of your portfolio in. If the Fed needs to keep intervening over the next several years and several decades, which I believe is a surefire bet, then it's also a surefire, position that you should hold Bitcoin as a significant portion of your portfolio.